Well, hey, everybody, it's Deepa, and we're here today. What we're going to be doing today is talking about this resource, which is Creative Solutions to Challenging Situations Workbook. And if you notice, the thing that's on the cover is a set of steps up to an open door, which means when you have a creative solution to a challenging situation, you're looking for a way out of a not good place. And it's a process. You have to change to get there. And when you go through that door, it's on the other side. But don't know what's out there. But if you don't like what's over here, about the only thing you can do is go out the other side. So this workbook was created to go along with a workshop that we did. But when we did the workshop, we found that doing a workshop live with people was different than trying to use the workbook when it was in a large group. And so what I had happen when I did the workshop is I had people work with each other and I was up front, and it was a great big church. So what we're going to be doing today is a little bit different. So when you're thinking about the workbook, you're thinking about looking at yourself, looking at the person you're trying to support and assist, and realizing we're two different human beings. And the very first thing we need to figure out is we're two different human beings. Now, we can like each other and we can like being with each other, but it doesn't make us the same. We're still two different human beings. And we have some different things we like and we don't like, and we have some different ways of doing things that are comfortable or uncomfortable. And there are going to be some times you probably don't want to have me around. Mm-hmm. He shook his head. Yes, do you see that? And there are going to be sometimes you don't want to have you, or I don't want to have you around. Right. Yeah. I mean, that's just the way it is. But we can have a good time sometimes when we're together. Yes, you can. Yeah. So I'm going to talk to Dewey just a little bit so y'all get a sense of who Mr. Dewey is. So it was Dewey Pettiford. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Dewey. What is that? Where are you from?
North Carolina.
North Carolina. Are you from Hillsborough or somewhere else?
Hillsborough, North Carolina.
A little bit north of Hillsborough.
Yes.
Now, did you grow up in the city or the country?
Grew up in the country.
Grew up in the country. How many people in your family?
9.
9 people. Now, is that 9 kids or 2 grown-ups and 7 kids?
9.
9? Whoa. Hang on.
5 kids.
5 kids, mom and a dad. Mm-hmm. And who else was around?
My father and mother were living at the time.
Father and mother living at the time. Now, where do you fall in among all the kids? The oldest, the youngest, in the middle?
The third one.
Third one from the top.
Yes.
So 5 kids, and you're third from the top. Now, brothers, sisters, all sisters?
One brother, the rest of them sisters.
One brother, the rest sisters. Were your sisters older than you?
Two sisters.
2 sisters older than you. Mm-hmm. Little bossy. Now, when you were growing up, what'd y'all farm? Tobacco. Okay. Did you have to help?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
You used to get a whipping.
Oh, get a whipping if you don't help out. Mm-hmm. So what kind of jobs did you have? Do you remember having as a kid with the tobacco?
Oh, tobacco, corn.
Corn too.
Garden.
Now, did you have to plant it, or did you just have to keep up with it once it was in?
Plant it.
You had to help plant it.
Plant it.
You remember about how many acres you had as a kid?
I think it's 5 acres of tobacco, maybe.
5 acres of tobacco. Okay.
Maybe 6 acres of corn.
6 acres of corn.
That's about it.
And then the garden, because that's what you fed yourself on in the summer, and you tanned to keep it in the winter.
Right.
Yeah. Now, did y'all own your land, or was your dad a sharecropper? Sharecropper. So what he did with that land, somebody took part of it.
Yes.
The landowner took a piece of it.
Right.
But then he got some part of it.
Right.
Yeah. Now you look back on that, that's not as fair as you might think it is. No. Did he have mules when you were growing up, or a tractor?
No. Boss man had mules and tractor.
Boss man had mules and tractors. So you'd have to use his, and then you'd owe him because you used his mule and his tractor. He's going to take half of whatever you brought in. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you grew up doing that. Now, did you want to do that when you grew up?
No. I would drive a school bus.
Oh, you wanted to drive a school bus. Oh, did you drive a school bus?
Yes, I drove school bus.
Okay. Did you get to go all the way in school, or did you have to stop out of school because
11th grade I came.
11th grade, you went all the way to 11th grade?
Yes.
Did you ever get to graduate, or
No,
you need to
no.
get to work?
You get to work.
Okay, get to work. So you went driving a school bus.
Mhm.
Then you did some other stuff after driving a school bus. What came after driving a school bus?
Like when my first job was in West End, Hillsborough, what kind of market was that?
Oh, so West End of Hillsborough is a part of Hillsborough where people, back in that day, people of color lived.
Right.
Because Hillsborough was a segregated town,
Ooh,
real segregated.
yes, Lord.
And so over in the west part of Hillsborough was where people of color shopped. They had their shops, they had their restaurants, they had their churches, and they had their community over there.
Worked at a meal.
And there was a mill. Oh, that's right. There was a mill.
Yeah.
I forgot about that
Yeah,
mill
they
over there.
keep them, wow.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And people either farmed, or they worked at the mill, or they worked for other people.
Right.
They worked for people.
Yeah.
So you worked in a market over there, but then you started driving a truck, if I remember.
Yes, started driving on produce
Driving a produce truck. Now, where'd you drive that produce truck?
all over the world.
All over the country.
Mm,
Where'd you take a load? Where might you take a load from here? Because you'd have what? Sweet potatoes and
sweet potato
cabbage and
meat.
meat.
Mm,
And where would you end up hauling that to?
California.
California, all the way to California,
Over in Mexico.
over to
Pick
Mexico,
up a load,
pick a load up over there and
back to New York.
back to New York.
Mm,
And then from New York, where would you go from New York?
we would load back in New York and go back.
Load up in New York. What did they have in New York that you were hauling? Do you remember?
No.
No,
Mm,
but that's a long haul. Now, did you have somebody with you the whole
no,
time?
No.
Did you have just by yourself?
By yourself.
Did you like that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you
You
did.
by yourself.
By yourself. Okay. Okay. Did you
Mm.
like stopping at truck stops or
Mm,
restaurants, or where'd you like to stop?
most of them I stopped on the road.
Stopped off on the road.
Not no men no harm, but stop and rest. There's women folks always on your door.
All right now. So Dewey's saying that if he stopped at a rest stop and he was a truck driver, women would knock on the door
Knock on the door.
looking for some time, wanting to be paid for their time.
Mhm.
Uh-huh. So now that was truck drivers, that's a reality. Now my
Mhm.
grandma ran a little restaurant, a little cook shop, and the
Mhm.
truckers would come in to eat
Mhm.
off the road, off the Saberton Highway in
Right.
West Virginia. They'd
Mhm.
come and eat, and then they'd take back off. And
Right.
she didn't do anything other than just cook food
Cook
though.
food,
Now I'm just
yeah.
sorry, it's just food there.
Yeah, what was that? West End?
West Virginia, it was,
West
no, it was
Virginia.
up in West Virginia, near Morgantown, West Virginia. You probably came by, you might have stopped by. Well, if you ever found a little girl stealing quarters off a table and she got real switched for doing that, you never steal a waitress's tips. Doesn't matter that you're picking up the dirty dishes. You don't
Right.
steal somebody's tips but once, and you will learn that you only do that once
Right.
because grandma knows where there's a willow switch.
Oh, Lord, yeah.
Mhm.
You didn't want that switch.
You don't want to switch.
No.
So I'm going to pause and I'm going to see if anybody else would like to ask my friend here, Dewey, any other questions about himself, because we're going to come back to this book, but we need to know people a little bit. Anybody have something they want to ask? Because what we've been exploring, just so you know, I'm going to show you the page of it, is we've been looking a little bit about personality traits. We've been exploring some on personality traits here, because it's important to know who your partner in crime is going to be.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. So Willie, let's see, let me ask a question while y'all looking at other personality traits here. Willie, when you go to do something, do you like to have the instructions all figured out before you get doing it? Or do you just sort of kick in and see if you can get her done?
Yeah, so you get it done.
See if we can just get it done. We'll figure it out along the way.
Right.
And if we make a mistake,
You didn't make no mistake they're supposed to.
uh-huh.
Really?
Well, things happen,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Oh, a lot of people made mistakes.
A lot of people will make mistakes. Yeah. But then when you make a mistake, you say, I'm sorry, and just keep on, right?
Keep on going.
Keep on going. That's right. All right. So what do you like doing in your spare time, Dewey?
But now, back then,
Well, now, how about now?
fishing.
Fishing. How long has it been since you got to go fishing?
Right?
About a month. Now, what'd you go fishing for this month ago?
Well, in the pond, you don't know what you might catch.
Oh, a pond. You don't know. Is it stocked?
Stop. Yeah.
Oh, now how long will you go fish when you go fishing?
Pretty much all day.
All day if you get a chance. Do you take food with you?
Take food with you.
What kind of food do you take?
Sandwich.
Sandwich. What kind of sandwich you like?
You may have chicken, you may have beef, you may have
Just
other stuff.
Just lunch meat,
Yeah.
cheese on it.
Right.
You put mayonnaise on it?
Yes.
Okay. Do you make it yourself? Somebody make it for
I
you?
make it myself.
Oh,
My
make it
wife
yourself.
passed away many years
Oh,
ago.
so your wife passed away. So you got to do it yourself or you don't do it.
Don't do it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, do you still live on the land you grew up on? Or close by?
I'm living on the lane where my mother grew up on.
Where your mom grew up?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Still north of Hillsborough.
Still
though.
no bills for me.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So we're open to other thoughts or questions.
So
about-
someone
to
does
ask
have a
Mr. Dewey
question.
here. Oh, well, let's stand up so they can see how tall you are.
Ooh.
Oh, okay, here we go. Okay, wait a minute. Let me hold it up real high so you can see. Are you up as tall as you can get?
Oh, yes. that's
Me
all I
too.
can get.
As tall as I can get too.
Mhm.
I think there's a difference.
Yeah, a little bit different, ain't much, is it?
Ain't much.
No.
Uh-huh. Unfortunately, I think we probably weigh about the same.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
it's sad because one of us is a lot heavier than the other one.
Well, we 160, I believe.
Oh, well, you weigh a little more than I do.
Mhm.
Not as much as you should.
I know, sweet.
Yeah, you have.
Mm.
All right. So, okay. So what other questions y'all have for Mr. Dewey here? If we were trying to make sure we knew what we needed to know about Dewey so that we would be able to provide the right kind of support and care. What else do y'all want to hear about?
So Missy wondered what are the things that you like to do?
What
I
do you
heard
like?
fishing.
Fish.
Fish,
Huh?
cook.
Cook.
What do you like to cook?
Anything.
Anything. You worked as a,
Cook downtown.
he worked at the Carolina Inn, which was a high class hotel and restaurant here in town for the longest time. And then it closed down
Mhm.
in the early,
I don't
I don't know, 70s, 80s. It was closed for a long time. It just reopened. But Dewey was one of the cooks there.
Yeah.
Now, did you start off washing dishes and work your way
Oh,
up?
washing dishes, working way up.
There you go. So Dewey is a hard worker. And the other thing I will share about, he's the nicest fella. He's just real nice. Dewey's just easygoing and nice. Yeah.
Your daddy would whip you.
Daddy would whip you if you weren't well behaved and nice.
And then whip your britches, whip your-
Oh, yeah. I know that feeling. So did my grandma. Either that or the back of my thighs.
Right.
Oh, those burn. That burns when they whip you back there. You had to at least get a stick that lasts 3 whips or you'd have to go get another one, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Don't
Discipline was a little bit rough back when we were little.
Yeah, but then it got that level belt. That we-
Oh, the leather belt. Yeah. Oh, I had a dog that would take my dad's wrist if he got the belt out and just, it was a Weimar on her and she would just go, mm. So she had to be locked up. That was the theory behind that. What else we got out there? Other questions that we should find out about?
Y'all should have got that on video. David just told me his name.
Somebody was wondering who you like to keep company with or spend time with.
Around these days, do we?
Yes. My brother
His brother. Yeah.
and I got a cousin I hang around with. We fish together.
Oh, he has a cousin that likes to go fishing. So they're good fishing buddies.
Then the people at the church.
People at church. Still church.
And
What else?
everybody gonna stop.
You don't like coming over here to
Oh,
us?
oh yes, yeah, I love to be over here. I have a lot of fun. Yeah. Oh, don't I mean? Yeah.
So Dewey you come 5 days a week to
Yeah,
us
mhm.
and spend time with us at the adult day health program.
Right.
And you were here for a long time because the place was closed down.
Mhm.
And I know when you first came back, you were glad to be back
Oh,
rather than
yeah.
just sitting around the house all
Oh,
day.
Lord, yes.
Yeah, I mean, if you can't go fishing, you might as well go somewhere.
You're right about that.
I know. So
It's
we,
nice.
you
It's
know,
nice. I have a nice time out here.
you do. He is and he's a great helper too. Now, do you like to be inside or outside if you get a chance?
Inside.
Inside. Oh, but you went on a walk earlier.
Oh, yes.
How was the walk today?
Good.
Did it was starting to get cold or stay warm?
No, I get my legs hurt being down.
Legs hurt. Yeah. Do you get arthritis? Do you have bad arthritis?
Doctor never said nothing about
Not arthritis, but your legs bother you if you walk too
I walk
much.
too much, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Is it your muscles or your bones? You say
I was in the muscle.
in your knees and in your muscles. It
Yeah,
just gets achy
yeah.
if you do too much of it.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. How's your blood pressure run?
Good.
It runs pretty good. How
Pretty
about your
good.
heart?
Called to the doctor.
Corey, how about, do you ever get sugar problems?
No.
No. Okay. You ever have stomach problems?
No, I eat too much.
Oh, not only if you eat too much. All right. Well, yeah. Yeah. Let's see. What other questions? Anything else?
So somebody wondered, are there things that just kind of get you upset or angry?
Yeah. Does anything rile you up? What will make you mad, Dewey? What makes you mad?
I got one boy.
Uh-oh.
He will make me mad.
Boy will make you mad. What's he do that gets on your nerve?
He do things you don't want him to do.
Okay, so he doesn't act right. He
Right.
doesn't behave himself. You don't like when, especially your family doesn't behave right.
Right. Even with the home, but ain't got no money in it.
Yeah, even when, you don't like misbehavior. You don't like people doing things they shouldn't be doing. And you know what's right, and you don't like people they shouldn't, and they know better.
Right.
Yeah. How about when you see somebody out? What kind of people bother you when you're out? What kind of stuff that people do bother you when you're out? Anything?
No.
You're pretty easygoing. How about people who are prejudiced? How you feel about that?
I don't remember meeting
No, you like they're bigoted or they're prejudiced. How's that do for you?
it.
You been around
I
it?
got a cousin that way.
You got a cousin that's like that.
Yeah,
How
he's-
do you like being around them or
No,
not?
I don't be around.
You don't like being around them
he-
because you're
he-
just,
One time I be around that church, he's a preacher.
oh, and he's a preacher. Well, that's not right.
I know, but he's.
Oh, that's not good.
I know. that, but
Yeah, 'cause
he's
you-
not living the life that we live.
No, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, he doesn't live like he says, and it's
Mhm.
not the message that you're supposed to be.
And married his cousin on top of that.
Oh, married his cousin too. Oh, well, there's something.
Something
What I
wrong.
say and what I do seem to be two different things. Huh?
Right. something
Yeah.
wrong with it.
So if you're going to say something and do something, you should say something, do it like you should. Yeah.
Right.
Now, did you ever go in service? I can't remember. Did you ever go
No,
in service? You
no,
didn't do
I
that.
went to be examined, my
Oh.
doctor, my lady I was working for come and got me out.
Oh, she didn't want you going in. She
wanted
went.
me to go in.
Oh, because she'd been short.
Right.
Now, was that what war was going on when you would have been?
Ooh, what was that?
Was that Vietnam or was it
Could've been.
Korea? How old are
Mm,
you now?
Hey, you baby, forget how old I am.
I'm
man.
so sorry.
I'm born November 6, 1935.
1935,
Mhm.
45, 55, 65, 75, 85, 95, 105, 115, 120. Okay, so 70, no, that's 85, 86 years old.
Right.
Yeah, you're 86 now.
Mhm.
Just in case you're curious, that's 86, right? Sitting right next to me,
Right.
86.
Yep.
He's young, a
Yeah,
young
Yeah,
86.
young 86.
Young 86, there we go.
Got one sister older than I am.
One sister older, but you've lost some other folks. Okay, well, Dewey, thank you for talking with us. Now I'll free you up. You can go join the group because I know that they're doing something that you might enjoy.
I played in my brother.
I know. Look, here comes my friend Ann. Thank you, Dewey.
Yeah, thank you too, ma'am.
Absolutely. Thank you for helping me out. You're the best.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
sir.
Mhm.
And I'll let you know that Miss Ann's gotta say hey.
Okay.
Thank you, Dewey.
I-
Come on, sit down, say hey.
I still my pops. I finished.
Did you finish your puzzle?
Yeah,
Oh my heavens, Ann,
Yeah.
that was fast. You did that quick.
I did myself.
You did it yourself? Nobody helped you?
No,
You sure Abby didn't help you a little bit?
yeah, but
All right, so here's another friend of mine. This is my friend,
and that
Ann Betts.
Trisha that.
Yes, ma'am. And I am Teepa and
Thank
you
you.
are Ann.
Yes, man.
And on here we have Rachel and that's Christine. Now let's see if you recognize this lady. Make Manda big, see if she recognizes her. You go here. She's coming. She's gonna come over and so you can see her better in a minute.
Okay. Hey,
Do you recognize her from earlier?
Yeah, I know her too.
That you know her too. That's
Yeah.
right. She was here for earlier today, wasn't she?
Yeah.
What was she doing here earlier today?
Yeah, this.
She was doing the hand thing. She was,
Yeah.
yeah, she sure enough. Well, she leads all our TikToks, doesn't she?
Yeah, I love that girl.
You do love her. Yeah, you
Yeah.
like to do. So
Yeah,
language on the left
left,
and rhythm on the right. You lose on the left and you retain on the right. There we go. All right.
Bravo, Anne. You are so
Hi.
good. Hi.
Hi, what you doing?
I'll be seeing you tomorrow.
I'll see you tomorrow. I love you.
I love you too.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for
Bye.
visiting, Miss Ann.
Bye.
Will you close the door when you go?
This way.
You are so wonderful. Thank you, Ann.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right. So our challenging situation with Dewey. So what might be a challenging situation with Dewey? Let's see if you guys can come up with anything you think that might present a challenge with Dewey.
I wonder, Tipa, he mentioned enjoying being on the road by himself. And it sounds like he traveled a lot by himself. So it makes me wonder what it's like for him when he's around a lot of people for a long period of time.
Yeah, so one of the things Dewey will do is pick a chair way far back and participate occasionally, but he'll sit way back. And so when Dewey sits way back, it's a strong visual cue that Dewey is done being part of the activity. So what kind of other challenges can y'all think of?
So someone said in the chat, if someone is being loud or misbehaving, and I was thinking if he doesn't want to do something, I could see where he would be real nice about it, but he wouldn't want to do it and it wouldn't happen.
Yeah, so Dewey is somebody who, if he doesn't feel like he's going to be okay doing something, he's really good at coming up with reasons why he's fine. He'll do it later. Oh, no, you guys go on and do it. I'm fine here. I don't know. No, if you need me, you let me know, but I'm good right here. I know if you all want to go, you all can go. He also is somebody that will start off doing something, but if things don't feel like they're going that well, you know what, I'm going to go sit over here. If you need me, you let me know. And that's a signal that Dewey's done being in the group again. So he's good at coming when you ask him to, but then did you notice, did he ever lean forward to talk to y'all? Was he okay with me saying things and turning and talking? So what do you think if Dewey didn't have somebody who was going to promote participation? So the challenge with Dewey is not a great, big, bold problem. What's the challenge with Dewey? Sherry got it.
The disengaging piece.
Yeah. So the reason Dewey's in the program, he'd be fine sitting in his trailer with his brother who has issues, drug issues and alcohol issues, and his nephew and some other folks. He would be fine staying there. But what would he do all day long? Nothing. So the challenging situation for Dewey is that without programming, Dewey's really easygoing, but given his changes, Dewey can't drive anymore. Not allowed to drive, can't drive, doesn't have the skill for driving. Dewey's legs do give out on him. So he does have peripheral vascular. Somebody identified, yep, he has peripheral vascular disease. So if he does too much, he loses the blood supply and the oxygenation flow in his legs. And so he can't do it that much because he runs out of juice. What else have you noticed about Dewey? How many teeth does Dewey seem to have?
You know, I didn't notice his teeth, but I'm reading the lips of some of my friends here. It looks like not many.
Not many. Yeah, Dewey, I mean, typical for rural Southern individuals with not a lot of money, which, you know, it's sort of history. It's something you definitely want to double check and check out. Getting dentures, keeping dentures, losing teeth, getting teeth cared for is not easy. And so by the time you're 85, in this group of individuals, it's rare to have somebody who has their full dentition. And I think Dewey has maybe 5 total teeth. So what's another challenging situation potential here?
I was wondering how that affects his eating and his food
Yeah, 'cause
intake.
he's 160 and he's about 6'1". Yeah. Yeah. And it hasn't been 1 month since he's gone fishing. It's been approximately a year and a half. Last time he went fishing was when he was in the day program and they went on a fishing trip. So Dewey loves fishing, but in fact, what does that say about Dewey's desire for things to look okay and be okay? So if we were to look at our book and we were to go, okay, so what's happening for this person living with dementia, which is page 3. So what's going on for them? What are you thinking? And this would be, if I were going to use the book, what I'd want to do is read this and say, okay, the challenge of living between the two of us. Because what do you know about me? If I were Dewey's primary person at the day center, what do you know about my energy level? For those of you who are familiar with me.
You like to do stuff.
I like to do stuff. And if I can't do stuff, that's when I will get uncomfortable. So what am I going to have to be thoughtful and careful of for me?
So if you're around Dewey, I'm thinking you're going to have to really slow down and really be willing to sit and be quiet and not do anything for periods of time.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to have to figure out how to dial this down or how to handle other people so that Dewey gets what he wants. Because what we have is we have a population of people, not just Dewey. So how could we then use me differently than just for Dewey? And so this is what happens when we go into group settings. I need to appreciate Dewey's getting exactly what he needs, which is I'm actually giving Dewey some space. I'm giving Dewey some time. I'm giving him watch time. And he doesn't have to say or do much of anything. He can contribute every now and then if he wants to, but he can do it at his distance. And yet, what is he doing while he's doing this? Is he active? Yeah, he's a people watcher. He is a people watcher. He likes to watch people. He likes to watch cars. How is watching people like driving your truck on your own the way we're setting it up then?
Well, you're kind of in your space and you're watching everybody out there doing stuff.
Yeah, so he's in his cab driving it. He's watching all the traffic on the road, but he's not having to participate. So what we try to make sure is Dewey gets one of the back edge chairs where he can be there and he can see the full range of what's going on, but he doesn't have to be present in the middle of the activity because that sort of wears Dewey out pretty quick. Yeah. is it important that he have those opportunities versus just sitting in his house then? What's the difference between sitting at his house and sitting here?
He's, like you said, he's engaging. He's got other
Yeah.
folks to look at, and it's a different kind of scenery.
Yeah. So on this next page, if we go to page 4, this is where I get to think about myself. So the value of this book is constantly looking at me, looking at the other person, looking at me, looking at who else might be involved. Because in a challenging situation, there's always more than one participant here. And so on this next one, it's like, have I ever noticed any of these behaviors in myself? Judging, observing, being curious. So or anything else. So who went and found Dewey and asked him to come?
Was it you, Deepa?
It was me. And when I brought him in, who guided the conversation? Because if
You
if I had y'all ask questions of Dewey, how soon would you? Well, I don't know, not much. Yeah. So why was I doing the translation I was doing?
I think so he could focus kind of one-on-one with you, and you're kind of that bridge. But if it came from you, it was safe. Whereas if it came from a lot of different people, then it could have just been too much. And I don't know. I just need to go.
Yeah. And so this idea of being supportive. And so what I wanted to do in this situation, I wanted you all to have someone to put in the book. And so I went to see who was available, and they were getting ready to start an activity. And so my judgment was, who among the group we have here might actually enjoy being here? Who might not miss being in the activity? And who did I have enough of a relationship with? And did I know enough about that I would be able to bridge the gap? Because what did you notice about how many words Dewey could come up with on his own? Once I got him started. Because what
gave
did
him
he
a
do?
lot of choices, and he started out by picking, mom and dad, or the kids, and then brothers and sisters, so you kind of started, and then he kind of give you a little bit more, and a
Yeah,
little
so
bit.
how many people in the family? 9. Okay, so we got mom and dad and the 2, 3, 5 kids. Where are you? And when I ask for specifics, what does that tell you about big picture versus details for Dewey? What do you think? If you go back to personality traits and we were to do page 17. So what do you think I am?
So people said in the chat that with the prompting of questions, he became more fluent and descriptive and with the highly emotional memories, and that you filled in the gaps and gave him the impression that he was fully participating. And so he wasn't really aware that he wasn't saying that much. And I also wonder if everybody listening wasn't maybe as aware either.
Yeah. So what did he actually say about the ladies? I mean, how many words did he give me about the truck stop and the ladies at the truck stop? And how much was that me figuring out what he meant and sort of figuring out the missing pieces of the story? And it's like, and I was getting it from both the visuals that he was giving me. There was sort of a sidebar wink there, but then there was also like, huh. I was like, I'm not sure where, I think I got it. And so I told the story. It's like, so now for money, okay, now I got it. Oh. Now when I saw that, did you hear me go or see me go? No, it was just like, oh yeah. And then I told a story about my grandma of running a truck stop, but mine was just for food. He did remember where he went with the truck though. California, Mexico, New York. Did he remember what he picked up in New York? Yeah, no, but he remembers his roots. And what else? When I asked how did he feel about people who were prejudiced, bigoted? That was a word that he did get, bigoted. And who did he talk about?
His cousin.
His cousin, the preacher. Like, now, and it's interesting because one of the early stories that Dewey told me was that when he was growing up, next farm over, there was a equally aged small white girl, Caucasian girl, and they used to play together the whole time growing up until he became a teenager. And then it was absolutely no more. Nope, you guys can't be together, you can't play together, you can't get together, you can't talk together. And that's part of that segregated South phenomena. And so I thought he might talk about that, but that story wasn't sticking in his mind. And it could be because it was sticking in his mind because when I first met Dewey, he had been at home for 18 months in his home, in the thing, sitting alone, really missing being in connection with people, being around people. And a lot of that sense of, I didn't do anything wrong. Why can't I be with people? I didn't do anything wrong. What did I do? Did I do something? I'm not allowed to go be with people. Because he was socially isolated pretty much of the time for about 18 months. Now he's been back for 3 weeks. So what are we noticing as he's back for 2 or 3 weeks? Yeah. Yeah. So now let me go to that detail or big picture. What do you think about me and Dewey? What are you thinking? Go to page 17. What do you think I am? If you look at that. Okay, so people who want the big picture, they want to understand the sort of why behind things. They want to try things out. They aren't real concerned with details. They like to discover things as you go along. They find sort of pleasure, okay, in trying something. And if it doesn't work, we'll either figure it out or we'll stop doing it one way or the other. They like new learning. They like trying things out. Whereas people who like the how are more like details. They want to get it right. They want to know what they're supposed to do exactly and how they're supposed to do it before they get started. They tend to like to have things laid out for them ahead of time. They want to know those pieces before we get started. And they like routine a lot. They really need their routine. They want to sit in the same seat. They want to do the same thing. They want to have the same people sit next to them. So what do you think about Dewey?
So Missy, first of all, says Tiba's a white person. And then kind of talked about how Dewey seemed maybe more of a big picture, or how that he seemed to notice or pick up on the objects for certain types, or recalling more of the names or objects.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, it was more the memories. Sorry, more the memories than the names and the objects, more of the
More
emotions
of
behind
the
it.
general idea. Well, you go fishing mostly all day. When he goes fishing, is he worried about what else has to happen? Well, but you take a lunch. What do you take? Sandwich. Well, it could be chicken. It could be this. It could be that. It could be whatever. Because what's the main thing you're doing? Going fishing. Yeah, but otherwise he likes being inside, which is interesting because I would have thought outside, but apparently not. Yeah. So why do I have to make sure Dewey gets a chair back in the corner? Because what will he do without thinking about it? He'll let somebody else sit in it. He's not picky about where he sits, but then what ends up happening if he ends up up in the front? He doesn't enjoy it because it's too much, it's too busy. And so his strategy, I'm sorry, I need to go to the men's room. I'll be back. So he'll go to the bathroom and it'll take a long time, like real long. And you'll usually find Dewey in the hall hanging out rather than coming back then, unless you say, oh, hey, Dewey. And you can sort of see him go, hey. You found me. So then it becomes, okay, let's make sure Dewey gets a back chair, because Dewey is not aware that he needs the back chair. It's just that he does. Yeah, he has a low sensory threshold. So when y'all asked him if Dewey ever gets upset about anything, what do you think Dewey would worry about or be upset with?
Missy's thinking maybe disruption or noise, or maybe disruption routine.
He's pretty easy, actually. I mean, he's like, well, whatever. I mean, he'll try stuff. He's not opposed. Like I mean, there was no like, oh, what are we doing? Or why do you need me to come? Just so like, sure. What would bother Dewey, do you think?
Someone wondered about maybe someone expecting too much from him.
Well, is it right at the beginning expecting too much?
Oh, maybe if someone insisted on him participating in something.
Yeah. So he needs to be able to say, I mean, I don't mind being here, but I don't want to do this anymore, and be able to push back from the activity, just like you push back from a table when you're done eating. And if so, then what does he go into? Because it's not like he's really pushing away from the whole activity. What is he done doing? The physical and the language thing, because what he wants to do is just sort of kick back and watch. So he goes back into its truck driver mode. And he wants to go back into the truck. If we don't give him a truck cab for part of the time, that's when Dewey gets unhappy. But is Dewey going to say too much about it? No. He'll just start looking for other places to go or be. He'll try to figure out a way to get out of the situation. So if we were to look at fright, flight, fight, hide, or seek, which two of these are going to be Dewey's pattern?
Hide and seek.
That hide, well, hide and seek, perhaps. So he'll hide from things or seek another thing. He also do flight. So he'll try to get out of that situation without being rude, because what's really horribly important to Dewey?
Kindness.
Being polite, kind, and behaving like you should. Now, is a good part of that how he was brought up?
Yeah, sounds like it.
Sounds like it. And how he worked when he worked. He was in line to go into the service, and his boss from the restaurant wanted him to work and came and got him. And what did he do? He went. So he's the kind of guy that if we don't have an environment that engage Dewey, he's not going to go looking for that environment. He hasn't even gotten to go fishing. So as we think about creating a me sheet for Dewey, which is page 30 and 31, if we look at the kind of things that are on there, what are you now considering we have and we're missing and we still need to gather so that we don't have challenges with Dewey? What are y'all thinking?
Seems like we have collected quite a bit of this already.
Wow. How long did we talk to Dewey?
10 minutes, maybe?
And maybe
15.
15 minutes? Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. Wow. That's pretty interesting. Does it take forever to fill one of these things out? Could we still find out more about Dewey over time?
Sure. Yeah.
Do we have any ideas of his favorite things?
Question. But that's something he likes to do. I was wondering about music or animals.
He will sing
Friends.
along. He will certainly sing along, and he likes one-on-one conversations. Will he sit and eat with people?
Maybe.
Yeah. But if nobody fixes food, is Dewey going to be able to get up and go fix his own food, do you think? Or does it just not happen because he's not got any details?
Mm-hmm.
So why maybe has he lost a significant amount of weight?
I'm okay. I don't need to eat.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
fine.
fine.
I'm fine.
I'm
And
fine.
the people he's living with
Mm.
go and grab fast food on their way in or their way out. I mean, we're not talking about his wife's passed a long time ago. He doesn't have a wife anymore. He doesn't have kids. He has brother
Brother
and a
and
nephew. So Dewey is someone who has a healthcare advocate in the social system, not in the family system. So what does that mean for us if we're trying to create best care practice for Dewey?
There'll be a lot of value in us learning him, knowing him.
So will he participate in help cooking?
Yeah.
How much?
A
Yeah,
little bit.
little bit. Can he help clean up the dishes afterward?
Sure.
Would you want to have him both cook and clean up the dishes and do something with the table and sweep the floor?
Mm-mm. Nah.
Now, who might we need to do that with so she doesn't bother a whole bunch of other people?
Was her name Anne?
Her name is Miss Ann. Yeah, Miss
Miss
Ann.
Anne. Miss
Miss
Anne.
Ann needs to be kept engaged because otherwise, what does Ann do? Hey,
Looks for some
hey,
reason.
hey, what are you doing? Hey, do I know you? Hey,
So how are they together?
well, they aren't very often. So Dewey tolerates Miss Ann, but we do find other things for Ann to do because Ann has a developmental disability. She's always had a developmental disability, but she started to develop dementia on top of her developmental disability, which means even the people who are used to Ann are finding Ann to be more than she used to be because her length of time being able to engage herself is small, except for a few exceptions. And when she gets involved in those exceptions, she is really involved in those exceptions. And there are just a few people who can encourage Anne to let go of it and come and be part of something else. Because Anne is very respectful of authority figures, but you have to do it with positive energy and, ooh, Anne, I have a huge favor. I want to finish my puzzle. I know you do. Got it. But right now, I'm going to give you 2 minutes and then we got to finish. Well, I won't be done. I know. You know what? I need your help. All right. And then within 2 minutes, what happens?
She's helping you.
She's helping. Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about this resource again before we wrap this up. What's the value of this resource?
Well, it helps me look at the people around me and myself.
Mhm. And if you think about it, does it allow us to look at the pieces of the puzzle? Does it allow us to look at personality traits?
It does.
Does it allow us to look about the potential that maybe there's some grief and loss going on here?
Mm,
Maybe
Yes, it
that's where
does.
things are coming from. Realizing that something may be coming from me and something might now, So how could you see me using this in a family group, in a care partner support system, or
Mhm.
in a workspace like here at the Adult Day Health Program, or in a one-on-one consultation? What do y'all think? Let's explore what some of the opportunities might be.
My first thought is in a support group type of setting where if I want to just take this workbook, everybody gets a workbook and maybe we talk about one chapter a session or 2 chapters a session. And helping the people in the support group really dive into what's life like with their loved one and themselves.
So it provides, oops. Yeah, I'm here, maybe I'm
Oh, we
not.
can hear
Maybe
you,
everybody
Tiva.
else is here but me.
We can hear you.
But you're frozen, but it's a nice looking face. There you go.
There you go. I thought it was me, but then I saw chat and I thought, well, maybe not. But no, it was me. So what it does is it provides some structure, some meat, and then people can provide some personal experience. And so basically by using this in a small group, we keep people focused on their own situation, but they can share with someone else what their situation is. And the goal, honestly, is to basically start to see the situation as challenging rather than the human being as challenging. See what we're going through as different rather than feeling guilty about what we're going through. So the idea about what's going on here. So if we turn to page 5 as an example, if we had a group of people talking about recently for you and your personal experiences, what circle as many things as you think actually apply. So dementia is hitting you how? How's it hitting you? As a surprise or pretty much what you expected? Or something else? And people respond to that. And when I'm surprised, I tend to fright, flight, or fight. So which of those would you say is your first reaction when something surprises you? And so where I find some challenges now, so what it truly does is it allows for structure of an interaction with an individual, or you could do it privately, certainly. So this is that resource where it causes us to get outside our own bodies and look at words on a page and then think about ourselves. So do this. It's the mirror that we want people to look in when they're thinking about a challenging situation. So it's not all about the person living with dementia. It really is, where am I in this? What is my role in this? What is going on for me? What do I need to know about me? And so this book was really designed to be a becoming a detective book, page 8. So moving out of that sense of feeling like it's happening to me and understand, well, something's happening. Let me figure it out. Come on in if you need to. Hey, come on in. You're good. So, oh, look.
I wanted you to try my sausage ball.
Oh, I have a very proud moment here. This is a very, very proud moment. Let me show you Miss Danielle. Miss Danielle is one of the amazing people who works here. She just led a baking group. Baking group. She doesn't make, she barely can cook. She says, I mean, baking is just not her thing. She made sausage balls.
They were good. Everybody enjoyed
Yum.
Enjoyed them. She brought one for me because I was harassing her a bit.
Yes.
But it was all coming from her. Oh, yum.
For somebody
It's a really good commercial for a sausage
Right?
ball right there.
Wow.
She's the best.
We got eggs. We got green peppers. We got a little onion. We got, oh, wow. You guys did a good job.
The Food Network channel would be so proud.
Wow.
I might give me a show.
There you go.
Don't sign the contract quite yet. Give me a chance because I gotta see her cook something else. 'Cause we're
This is
working on
trial
it.
one,
This is-
trial
this is the
one.
first time. Congratulations. Whoa. Accepting the challenge.
Yes.
Danielle. Go girl.
There you go.
All right.
Wow, that was pretty impressive. Man, I'm gonna finish that when I'm done with this. All right. So, what do you think?
About the sausage ball and the cooking, or about our workbook here?
Well, what do you think? So what did you get the whole thing about Danielle doesn't bake? And yet, what is she doing? She's
She
leaving-
accepted the challenge, and look what she came up with.
and she interrupted me to tell me about how successful she was. Is it just about people living with dementia?
No,
No.
not at all.
About having
Mm-mm.
moments of pleasure and joy and going from a challenging situation, I can't bake,
Mhm.
to changing something. And ta-da. She was real
Finding joy
proud.
in it.
She was real proud. So thank you guys for coming today. I'm hoping that we didn't distract you from the resource, because in order to use this resource, you have to have experiences. You have to have real people. You have to have interactions. You have to have something you're interested in and a situation that's creating a bit of a challenge so that the resource makes sense. If nothing is happening, it's not going to be a resource that speaks to you. But if something is going on in the world for you or for somebody you care about, it could help you see that more clearly and maybe be able to come up with some solutions that might make sense. So we're working hard, and I'm hoping that what we showed you might give you some possibilities of what you could do.
Mhm.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.